Adi Parva, Book 1, Chapter 1. After Pandu had conquered many lands through war and through his own valor, he lived in the forest devoted to hunting with his wives. This is where the Mahabharata journey begins. In the forest of Naimisha, the sages are ready to hear a story where dharma, lineage, war, and human choice will unfold together. Before all else, one should bow to Narayana and to Nara, foremost among men, and to the goddess Saraswati, and then recite the Jaya. Ugrashavasta Sutta, son of Lomaharshana, and a reciter of the Puranas, came to the 12-year satra of Shaunaka the Kulapati in the Naimisha forest. One day he arrived at the hermitage where the Brahma rishis sat together, those men of sharpened vows, and he bowed before them with deep humility. The ascetics dwelling in that forest, eager for wonderful tales, gathered around him as he came. He bowed to each of the sages with joined palms and asked after the flourishing of their austerities. They welcomed him warmly. When all had taken their seats, Lomaharshana's son occupied the place assigned to him with fitting humility. When one of the sages saw him sitting at ease and fully rested, he drew out a tale with his questioning. "Where have you come from, O Sutta? How has your time been spent? O lotus-eyed one, tell me." Ugrashavas replied that he had been at the serpent sacrifice of King Janamejaya, son of Parīkṣit and lord among kings, where the great-souled Krishna Dvaipayana had told many auspicious tales, and where Vaishampayana had duly narrated others thereafter. Having heard those tales of wondrous meaning rooted in the Mahabharata, he had journeyed through many sacred fords and holy sites, traveling at last to the holy region called Samantapanchaka, frequented by Brahmins, where long ago the great battle had been fought among the Pandavas, the Kurus, and all the kings of the earth. Wishing to see it, he had come from there to their presence now. "You are all long-lived," he said. "In my mind, you are Brahman itself. O greatly fortunate ones assembled at this yagna, radiant as the sun and sacred fire, who have bathed and are pure, who have completed your ritual recitations and offered into the sacred flames, you sit at ease. Venerable ones, what shall I speak of? Auspicious tales rooted in the Puranas, or tales grounded in dharma, or the histories of kings and great-souled sages?" One of the rishis answered for all of them. They wished to hear the Purana spoken by Dvaipayana, the supreme sage, which the gods and the Brahma rishis had praised upon hearing it, that foremost of all narratives, rich in varied cantos and passages, filled with subtle meanings and sound reasoning, adorned throughout with the purport of the Vedas. That auspicious Bharata Itihasa, combining both text and meaning, refined in its expression, Brahmi in its character, enriched by many shastras, the composition which Vaishampayana, by the command of Dvaipayana and with gladness in his heart, had duly recited to King Janamejaya at his satra. It was the work of Vyasa, equaling the 4 Vedas. It was righteous, and it removed all fear of wrongdoing. "That is what we wish to hear," the sage said. Ugrashavas bowed to the primeval Purusha, the sovereign, the much invoked, the much praised, to eternal truth, and to the single imperishable Brahman, manifest and unmanifest, both being and non-being, and to that which is beyond both, the creator of the higher and the lower, the ancient, supreme, and undecaying. He bowed to the auspicious Vishnu, the most excellent, the sinless and pure, Hrishikesha, Hari, the teacher of all that moves and stands still. Then he began to set forth the complete teaching of Vyasa, that great sage honored throughout all the worlds, of immeasurable brilliance, Some seers had narrated this history. Others were narrating it now. Yet others would narrate it upon the earth in times to come. Its great knowledge has a place in all three worlds and is held by the twice-born in both its detailed and its condensed forms, adorned with beautiful words and with expressions both divine and human, woven through with various meters and rhythms dear to the learned. In the beginning, when there was no light, when darkness covered all sides, a single great egg arose, the imperishable seed of all creatures. At the start of the age they call that the great and divine originating cause, in which eternal light, the Brahman, that is truth, is said to dwell. Wondrous and inconceivable, having reached sameness everywhere, the subtle unmanifest cause, partaking of both being and non-being. From it the grandfather was born, the one sovereign Prajapati, Brahma the teacher of the gods, Stanu, Manu, Ka, and Parameshti. Then came Prachetas and Daksha, and the 7 sons of Daksha, from whom arose the 21 lords of creatures. There too arose the Purusha of immeasurable self, whom all the sages know, the Vishvadevas, the Adityas, the Vasus, and the twin Ashvins, the Yakshas, the Sadhyas, the Pishachas, the Guyakas, and the Pitris, and from them those who are learned, distinguished, and unblemished, the Brahma Rishis. Many royal sages endowed with every virtue came forth as well, along with the waters, the sky, the earth, the wind, the mid-regions, and all the directions. The years and seasons, months and fortnights, days and nights in their proper order, and whatever else arose, witnessed by all the worlds. Whatever is seen here of things stationary and moving, at the exhaustion of the age, the entire world is contracted back again. As the marks of the seasons appear in ever-varied forms as each season returns, so too do the same conditions arise again at the commencement of each new age. Thus this wheel, the cause of the destruction of all beings, without beginning and without end, revolves in the world. In brief, the count of the gods' creation is 33,333. Among the sons of the sky, Brihadbanu, Chakshus, Atman, Vibhavasu, Savita, Richika, Arka, Banu, Ashavaha, and Ravi, all sons of Vivasvat, the youngest among them being Mahya. The son of Devabrat was Subrat. Subrat had 3 sons of great learning, Dashajoti, Shatajoti, and Sahasrajoti. Dashajoti had 10,000 sons. Shatajoti had 10 times as many, and 10 times more again were the sons of Sahasrajoti. From them arose the lineage of the Kurus, of the Yadus, and of Bharata, the lineages of Yayati and Ikshvaku, and of all the royal sages. Many lineages and detailed accounts of creation arose from them. All the abodes of beings, the various secrets, Vedic knowledge with its branches, Dharma, Artha, and Kama, the Shastras of Dharma, Kama, and Artha, the various other Shastras, and the ordinance of conduct for the world's ongoing life. The sage saw all this come into being and recorded it. The Itihasas, with their explanations, and all the various sacred texts are covered here. The sage widely expanded this great knowledge and then set it forth in condensed form as well, for the learned value both. Some Brahmins study the Bharata, beginning from the section of Manu, others from the section of Astika, and yet others from the section of Uparichara. The learned illuminate the various knowledge of the Samhita from their different angles. Some are skilled in exposition, others in retaining the text by memory. By austerity and brahmacharya, the son of Satyavati composed the eternal Veda and this auspicious Itihasa as well. Parashara's son, that learned Brahma Rishi of sharpened vows and righteous spirit, at the instruction of his mother and of the wise Gangeya, whom we know as Bhishma, on the field belonging to Vichitravirya begot 3 sons upon the Kaurava women, as one induces 3 sacred fires. He fathered Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura, and then the wise one returned to his hermitage to practice austerities. When those sons had been born, had grown to maturity, and had passed on to the highest state, the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana proclaimed the Bharata in this human world. Asked by King Janamejaya and by thousands of Brahmins, he instructed his disciple Vaishampayana, who sat close beside him. Seated among the assembly members at the satra and urged again and again at the intervals in the yagna, Vaishampayana had the Bharata heard by all. Dvaipayana set forth there the full extent of the Kuru lineage, the righteous conduct of Gandhari, the wisdom of Kshata, and the steadfastness of Kunti. He proclaimed the greatness of Vasudev, the truthfulness of the Pandavas, and the wicked conduct of the sons of Dhritarashtra. He composed the Bharata Samhita of 24,000 verses. Without the subsidiary tales, that is what the learned call the Bharata. Beyond this, the sage composed a summary of 150 additional sections, the Anukramanika chapter, covering the episodes and parvas. He first taught it to his son Shuka, then gave it to other fitting disciples as well. Narada recited it to the gods, Asita Devala to the Pitris, and Shuka recited it to the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, and the Rakshasas. Duryodhana is the great tree made of wrath. Karna is his trunk, and Shakuni his branches. Dushasana, the flourishing flower and fruit, and the root is the unwise king Dhritarashtra himself. Yudhishthira is the great tree made of dharma. Arjuna is his trunk, and Bhimasena his branches. The sons of Madri, the flourishing flower and fruit, and his root is Krishna, Brahman, and the Brahmins. After Pandu had conquered many lands through war and through his own valor, he lived in the forest devoted to hunting with his wives. Through his fatal union with the deer, he fell into terrible calamity. From the birth of the Pandavas onward, the orderly course of their upbringing is told, the support rendered by their mothers in relation to the sacred teaching on dharma, and the stories of the divine fathers, Dharma, Vayu, Shakra, and the twin Ashvins, raised in the company of ascetics, guarded by their mothers, in pure and sacred forests, and the hermitages of great sages. The children were brought by the sages themselves into the presence of the sons of Dhritarashtra, handsome, wearing matted hair as brahmacharins, students under sacred vow, living that vam. These are your sons and brothers, your disciples and your friends. These are the Pandavas, declared the sages. And then they vanished. Seeing the Pandavas thus presented, the Kauravas and people of all classes cried out in joy. Some said these were not Pandu's sons, others said they were. Still others asked how they could be his when Pandu had died long ago. Welcome. By good fortune we behold the progeny of Pandu. Say welcome to them. Such words were heard everywhere. When that clamor subsided, a tumultuous sound arose resounding in all directions, the voices of invisible beings, a shower of flowers, sweet fragrances, and the blare of conches and drums attended the Partha's arrival. From the joy of all the citizens, a great sound arose and reached the sky, adding to the Pandavas' fame. Having studied all the Vedas and various Shastras, the Pandavas lived there, honored and fearing no one. The people were won over by the purity of Yudhishthira, by the steadfastness of Bhimasena, and by the valor of Arjuna. The entire world was pleased by Kunti's devoted service to her elders, by the modesty of the twins, and by the heroic qualities of all of them. Hearing the grievous tidings of the Pandavas' victory, and knowing the minds of Duryodhana, Karna, and Shakuni, Dhritarashtra reflected long, and then spoke to Sanjaya. "Hear me fully. You should find no fault with me. You are learned, wise, intelligent, and esteemed by the discerning. I have no desire for conflict, nor do I take pleasure in the ruin of the Kurus. I make no distinction between my own sons and the sons of Pandu. My sons, driven by wrath, grow angry with me, their old blind father. Helpless, I have borne it out of love for them. I am drawn into delusion alongside the deluded and senseless Duryodhana. Having seen the Pandavas' splendor at the Rajasuya, and having suffered that mockery in full view before the assembly hall, Duryodhana, unable of himself to defeat the Pandavas in battle, and without the drive to win prosperity by rightful means as a Kshatriya should, counseled a secret dice game together with the king of Gandhara. Hear from me, Sanjaya, whatever and however I came to know of all this. Having heard my words, reasoned and truthful, you will know me as one whose sight is the sight of wisdom. When I heard that the wondrous target had been struck by the drawn bow and brought down to earth, and that Draupadi had been taken away before the eyes of all assembled kings, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Subhadra, the Madhava princess, had been forcibly taken by Arjuna at Dvaraka, and that the two Vrishni heroes had then gone to Indraprastha, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the king of the gods was repelled with divine arrows by Arjuna, and that Agni had been satisfied in the Khandava forest, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Yudhishthira, robbed of his kingdom, had been defeated by the son of Subala in the dice game, and that his immeasurable brothers had followed him into exile, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Draupadi, tears choking her voice, was brought weeping and distraught into the assembly hall, wearing only one garment and in her monthly period, she who had protectors treated as one who had none, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard of the many varieties of hardship endured by those righteous ones as they set forth for the forest, the Pandavas suffering out of their devotion to their eldest brother, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the righteous king, living in the forest, was followed by thousands of brahmacharins and great-souled Brahmins who lived by begging, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Arjuna had pleased the god of gods, Shiva himself, in the form of a Kirata, a mountain hunter, in combat, and had received from him the Pashupata, that great weapon, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Dhananjaya, dwelling in the third heaven, had duly received divine weapons directly from Shakra, and was praised there as one faithful to his word, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Bhima and the other Parthas had met with Vaishravana in that land inaccessible to ordinary mortals, and when I heard of the cattle inspection tour, my own sons who trusted in Karna's counsel were captured by Gandharvas and freed by Arjuna, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard, O Sutta, that Dharma himself came in the form of a yaksha and met the righteous king, and that Yudhishthira answered every question rightly, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the foremost warriors among my own forces were routed by Dhananjaya alone from a single chariot, while he was then living in the realm of Virata, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Uttara, the daughter of the king of Matsya, was honored and given to Arjuna, and that Arjuna accepted her for his son, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that 7 Akshahinis had rallied to Yudhishthira, he who had been defeated, stripped of his wealth, exiled, and cut off from his own people, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard from Narada that those two, Nara and Narayana, Krishna and Arjuna, had been seen together in Brahmaloka, as Narada himself declared, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Madhava Vasudeva was wholly given over to the cause of the Pandavas, he of whom they say a single stride of valor spans the whole earth, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Karna and Duryodhana had devised a plan to seize Keshava, and that he had revealed himself in many forms, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that, as Vasudeva departed, the grieving Pritha stood alone before his chariot and was consoled by Keshava, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Vasudeva was their counselor, and that Bhishma, son of Shantanu, and Bharadwaja, son Drona, were pronouncing auspicious words upon the Pandavas, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Karna declared to Bhishma, I will not fight while you are fighting, and then withdrew from the army, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that those two, Vasudeva and Arjuna, along with the incomparable bow Gandhiva, 3 of fierce and supreme power, had come together, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that those two, Vasudeva and Arjuna, along with the incomparable bow Gandhiva, 3 of fierce and supreme power, had come together, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that while Arjuna was overcome by despair and sinking down in his chariot, Krishna showed him all the worlds within his own form, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Bhishma, the crusher of foes, was slaying 10,000 chariots in battle, yet not one of his foes who stood before him visibly could slay him, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the supremely valiant Bhishma, unassailable in battle, was at last brought down by Partha, with Shikandi placed before him as a shield, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the old hero Bhishma, struck down by arrows with bright feathers, lay upon his bed of arrows, leaving the Somakas barely a remnant, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that, as Bhishma lay upon his bed of arrows, and Arjuna was urged to bring him water, Arjuna pierced the earth, and Bhishma was satisfied by the waters that rose up there, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that both the planet Shukra and the sun were aligned favorably for the victory of the sons of Punti, and that beasts of prey constantly howled at our forces, auspiciously for the enemy, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the divine Shakti given by the king of the gods and intended against Arjuna was turned aside by Madhava upon the terrible formed Rakshasa Gatotkacha, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the great warriors on our side had been arrayed to bring Arjuna to his end, and that the Samsaptakas were slain by Arjuna, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the formation, impenetrable to all others, guarded by Drona with weapons in hand, was broken through by the lone hero Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, who entered it alone, then I did not hope for victory. When the great chariot warriors, unable to face Partha himself, surrounded and killed young Abhimanyu, and were seen rejoicing, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the sons of Dhritarashtra, foolishly rejoicing and shouting in elation over Abhimanyu's death, caused Arjuna to unleash his fury against Jayadratha the Sandhava, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Arjuna had sworn a vow to slay Jayadratha, and that he fulfilled it truly in the midst of his enemies, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that with his horses exhausted, Dhananjaya freed them, gave them water, restored their strength, and then Vasudeva yoked them again and set forward, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that, while the horses were being rested, Arjuna stood in the chariot wielding his Gandiva and held all enemy warriors at bay, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Yuyudhana, crushing Drona's division with a force hard to withstand, went to join where Krishna and Partha stood, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the hero Bhima was spared from death by Karna after being taunted with harsh words and struck by the tip of Karna's bow, then I did not hope for victory. When Drona, Kritavarma, Kripa, Karna, Drona's son, and the valiant king of Madra could not endure the slaying of Jayadratha in their very sight, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the divine Shakti given by the king of the gods and intended against Arjuna was turned aside by Madhava upon the terrible formed Rakshasa Gatotkacha, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the Brahma Shiras weapon released by Arjuna had been appeased by a counter-weapon with words of blessing, and that Ashvathama surrendered his crest jewel, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the revered teacher Drona, while surrendering himself to death in the chariot, had been unlawfully slain by Drishtadyumna, acting beyond the bounds of dharma, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Nakula, son of Madri, met Drona's son Ashvathama in a chariot duel before all the world, matching him as an equal Pandava in the fight, then I did not hope for victory. When Drona was slain, and Drona's son unleashed the divine Narayana weapon, but could not find the destruction of the Pandavas, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Karna, supremely valiant and unassailable in battle, had been brought down by Partha in that fight which was a hidden mystery even among the gods, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Drona's son Kripa, Dushasana, and the fierce Kritavarma could not stand against Yudhishthira left undefended, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard, O Sutta, that the heroic king of Madra had been slain in battle by the righteous king, he who had always challenged even Krishna himself in combat, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the wicked Shakuni, son of Subala, the root of strife and gambling, relying on his power of illusion, had been slain in battle by the Pandava Sahadeva, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that exhausted Duryodhana had gone alone to a lake, stilled its waters, and lay hidden within it, stripped of his chariot and his pride shattered, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the Pandavas stood at the lake on the Ganga, along with Vasudeva, and challenged my unrelenting son, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that he moved through the circles of the mace fight by many stratagems, yet was struck down by a deceitful blow, guided by the wisdom of Vasudeva, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Drona's son and his companions had slain the sleeping Panchalas and the sons of Draupadi, and had committed that base and terrible deed, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that Ashvathama, in pursuit of Bhimasena and burning with rage, had unleashed the supreme weapon, the Aishika, and with it struck down the child in the womb, Then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that the Brahmashiras weapon released by Arjuna had been appeased by a counter-weapon with words of blessing, and that Ashvatthama surrendered his crest jewel, then I did not hope for victory. When I heard that as Drona's son hurled the great weapon against the child in Virata's daughter's womb, Dvaipayana and Keshava cursed Drona's son with mutual curses, then I did not hope for victory. Gandhari is to be pitied, bereft of sons and grandsons. So too the wives of the fallen, bereft of fathers and brothers. A great and difficult deed has been accomplished by the Pandavas. The kingdom has been won back by them, free of enemies. With grief I hear that 10 warriors remain after this war, 3 on our side and 7 of the Pandavas. 18 Akshauhinis, less 2, were destroyed in that conflict of the Kshatriyas. Darkness envelops me and bewilderment seems to assail me. I cannot collect my senses, O Sutta. My mind seems to reel. Having spoken thus, Dhritarashtra wept long in his grief, then fell into a swoon. Upon recovering, he spoke again to Sanjaya. To the king in that pitiable state, the wise Sanjaya, son of Gavalgana, spoke these words of great import. You have heard of kings of mighty ambition and great strength, as told by the wise Dvaipayana and by the far-seeing Narada, born in great royal lineages endowed with every virtue, those who knew divine weapons and matched Shakra himself in splendor. They conquered the earth by dharma, performed yagnas with generous gifts, won fame in this world, and then passed under the power of time. And before them, other kings even mightier had passed away, great chariot warriors endowed with every virtue. Among them, the great chariot warrior Vainya, and Srinjaya foremost among conquerors, Suhotra and Rantideva, Takshivanta and Aushija, Balika, Damana, Shaivya, Sharyati, Ajita and Jita, Vishvamitra the destroyer of foes, and the mighty Ambarisha, Marutta, Manu, Ikshvaku, Gaya and Bharata, Rama the son of Dasharatha, and Shashabindu and Bhagiratha, and Yayati of auspicious deeds, whom the gods themselves consecrated in the yajna, and in whose realm the earth is marked throughout by the sacred pillars of sacrificial posts. These 24 kings were proclaimed of old by Narada, the divine sage to Shaibya, who was burning with grief for his son. Puru, Kuru, Yadu, Shura, Vishwagashwa, Mahadriti, Anena, Yuvanashva, the valiant Kakutstha, and Raghu, Vijiti, Vitihavya, Bhava, Shweta, Brihadguru, Ushinara, Shatratha, Kanka, Dulidu, and Druma, Dambhodbhava, Para, Vena, Sagara, Sankriti, and Nimi, Ajaya, Parashu, Pundra, Shambhu, the sinless Devavruddha, Devabhaya, Supratima, Supratika, Brihadratha, Mahotsaha, Vinitatman, Sukratu, and the Naishadha king Nala, Satyavrata, Shantabhaya, Sumitra, the sovereign Suvala, Janujangha, Anaranya, Arka, Priyabhritya, and Shubhavrata, Balabandhu, Niramarda, Ketushrunga, and Brihadbala, Drishtaketu, Brihatketu, Deeptaketu, and Niramaya, Avikshita, Prabala, Durta, Kritabandhu, and Dridshadati, Mahapuran, Sambhavya, Pratyanga, Praha, and Shruti. These and many others, by the hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands, are spoken of, and yet others are counted by the millions, kings of great wisdom and mighty strength, having left behind vast pleasures, met with death, and your sons were among their number. These kings, whose divine deeds, valor, generosity, magnanimity, piety, truthfulness, purity, and uprightness are spoken of in this world by the wise, by those versed in ancient lore, and by the foremost of sages, even those endowed with every eminence, passed away. Your sons were wicked, consumed by wrath, greedy, and given largely to bad conduct. You should not grieve for them. You are learned, wise, intelligent, and esteemed by the discerning. Those whose understanding follows the Shastras do not fall into delusion, O Bharata. Both the power of restraint and the power of favor are known to you, O Lord of men. Unlimited indulgence in protecting one's son is not what is prescribed. What was destined to be has come to pass. You should not grieve over it further. Who, even by the highest wisdom, can turn back what fate has ordained? No one transgresses the path laid out by the Creator. Time is the root of all this. Both existence and non-existence, pleasure and pain alike. Time ripens all beings. Time brings creatures to their end. The very fire that consumes creatures is extinguished again by time. Time shapes all conditions in the world, auspicious and inauspicious alike. Time draws all creatures back and sends them forth again. Time moves through all beings, equal and unobstructed. Having understood that past, future, and present conditions are all fashioned by time, you should not lose hold of your senses. Regarding this, Sanjaya continued, Krishna Dvaipayana had proclaimed the following auspicious teaching. Even one who studies only a quarter of the Bharata with Shraddha, reverent and earnest trust, is purified completely of all wrongdoing without remainder. For here the divine sages and auspicious Brahma Rishis and royal sages are celebrated, as are those of auspicious deeds, the Yakshas and the great serpents. And Bhagavan Vasudeva, the Eternal, is celebrated here, for he is truth and right order, the pure and the auspicious. He is the everlasting supreme Brahman, the immovable eternal light, whose divine deeds the wise recount. From that divine one proceed both being and non-being, being together with non-being, continuity and activity, birth and death and rebirth, what is known as the Adhyatma, the inner self, composed of the qualities of the five elements, and what is supreme beyond the unmanifest, that itself is proclaimed as him. What the foremost among ascetics, joined in the power of dhyana yoga, meditative discipline perceive as established within the self, reflected as though in a mirror. A person who is reverent, ever earnest, and devoted to truth and dharma, and who faithfully treads this chapter, is freed from wrongdoing. One who always listens from the beginning to this Anukramanika chapter of the Bharata with genuine trust will not sink in times of hardship. One who recites even a little of it at both twilights is freed that very day from whatever wrongdoing has accumulated through the day and through the night. For this is the true body of the Bharata, true and imperishable. As clarified butter is the essence drawn from yogurt, as the Brahmin is the foremost among the two-legged, as the ocean is the foremost among lakes, and a cow foremost among four-footed creatures, so is the Bharata declared the greatest of all. Whoever recites even a single quarter of it to Brahmins at a Shraddha, an ancestral offering rite, shall ensure that inexhaustible food and drink attend upon that person's ancestors. The Veda should be enriched by Itihasa and Purana. The Veda fears this man of little learning may transgress me. One who knows this, the Veda of Krishna Dvaipayana, and has it recited, attains its full benefit. Even the wrongdoing of slaying a Brahmin is shed without doubt. One who reads this auspicious chapter at every Parva interval has by that act studied the entire Bharata. A person who listens daily to this sage-spoken work with reverence and earnest trust shall attain long life, fame, and passage to the heavenly world. The four Vedas were placed on one side, and the Bharata alone on the other, by the assembled divine sages of old, and weighed against each other. In greatness and in weight, the Bharata was found to exceed them. Because of its greatness and its great weight, it is called the Mahābhārata. One who knows the meaning of its name is freed from all wrongdoing. Austerity is not impure in itself. Study is not impure in itself. The Vedic ordinance that follows natural law is not impure in itself, nor is the forceful taking of wealth impure in itself. But these very things become impure when they are corrupted by selfish intent. This chapter matters because Ugrashavas the Sutta arrives at the 12-year satra in Naimisha forest, where Shaunaka and the assembled Brahma Rishis welcome him and ask to hear the Bharata of Dvaipayana. In the next chapter, the account of Samanta Panchaka, the Akshauhini, and the Parva Sangraha moves the story forward. The journey continues in the next chapter.